to try to reopen the park. We have about 250 guides. They require very little from the park itself. They pay a license every year to work out in the park, and it not only has an impact on them and their families, but has an impact on the hotels and the restaurants in the area. And so I would ask, with your very limited staff, and I know that this is not your fault, but the inability of the other side to provide any real leadership here. But what I commend you for your leadership, and I commend for Dan Kimball and his service. But I'd ask you, as you look at opening up, this is one of those areas where I think it will not cost you as much as opening it up and getting it done. These folks require very little of you, and they do a great service to Monroe County and the Florida Keys. I want to ask you, Mr. Jarvis, what do you think the cost has been thus far to the Park Service? And I know you've answered this question in a few different ways, but if you'll indulge me and just tell us what you think the cost has been thus far.
I really don't have a figure. You mean cost in terms of how much we theoretically have expended during the closure period? How
much you've expended, how much you've failed to collect?
Okay. Yeah, in terms of failure to collect, we're losing about $450,000 per day of income. That would be non-appropriated dollars, fees from camping, from entrance fees, and the like, franchise fees, all of that. So we're losing about $450,000 per day.
Very good. Ms. Simon, I know you've given some estimates here. I'd love to hear you sort of recap it for me. As a freshman, it takes a long time for the gavel to get to me. So I'd like to ask you what this has cost our country, and in particular your industry.
Certainly. Thank you for the question. In the first week of the shutdown, our tour operators reported $114 million in losses just for the first week. We know that obviously in the last 16 days that has dramatically increased, and we project long-term impacts based on future business that has already canceled or postponed. We know that does not include the estimated financial losses from the cities and destinations and suppliers that belong to our association as well. And then we also believe that the long-term impact will have an effect on international visitation to the United States. The national parks are a huge draw for international markets, and we believe that it's going to be difficult for international visitors to kind of regain the confidence of coming back to the United States. They don't understand it. That's what we're hearing from our tour operators, is they're having to try to explain to their international visitors why the parks are closed and why they can't see them.
Ms. Simon, if I could just, if you could indulge me, could you tell me what exactly you tell your international visitors, or what you would counsel your association members to tell those international visitors that don't understand?
That's a very good question. We have not been in a position of counseling them to tell them anything, but what they have done is to try to find alternative activities, which includes some of the very nice state parks that we have throughout the country as well.
Very good. Again, thank you all for being here, and to whatever degree some of you have been sort of blamed for somehow in your vast government conspiracy to shut down parks. I want to thank you for your service to our country, your service in trying to preserve America's great treasures, and of course, with a little bit of luck by this afternoon, we will have figured our way through this. But thank you very much. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back, and I thank the gentleman.